So when we started the company 5 years ago, it was in the midst of the blog revolution, right? Blogs were being created. You know, there was amazing statistics. Every second, some number of blogs were being created. So there was already this growing trend of the consumer having a louder voice, and citizen journalism, and all these different, you know, phrases that describe that change. And so we've benefited from that overall macro level trend in the industry and in marketing. You know, our mission from the beginning was to help companies harness those conversations in a measurable way to drive their business. And 5 years ago in the U.S., a very, very small number of retailers actually had customer ratings and reviews on their website. You could count really on one hand the number of major retailers that had that type of functionality. Amazon being one of them that had this, you know, for 10 years and was a real pioneer. And so we were trying to help companies do this in a very measurable way. There was so much conversation happening about user-generated content, social media. All of that stuff is great, but we wanted to bring some accountability and measurability to it. And we focused on ratings and reviews because it would be beneficial to retailers, it's beneficial to consumers, it's linked to products, and therefore you can tie it back to the product performance of those products and actual sales metrics. User-generated content is something that search engines really like. It's fresh content. It updates frequently. It's organic, so it's always being modified and growing organically, which gives search engines you know, good stuff to crawl. It's authentic. You know, it's in the customer voice. It's social inherently, so it's linked to very frequently. So that all of those factors make it a valuable addition to your website if you want to place more highly in natural search ratings. The other thing with discoverability is when consumers give you feedback on products and they're setting these, essentially they're setting these flags on all of your products that help those products then surface in other areas of the web. So a retailer can invest in technology like what we provide, ratings and reviews on their website, and once they start to capture a critical mass of that content on their website, they can actually push that out to other locations on the web. They can feed that into Google product search. They could feed that in to Facebook in various ways. And all of those social cues, such as ratings, help other consumers then discover things that are going to be relevant to them. And the huge opportunity that we have before us is now we actually have a mature social graph, and Facebook being a great example of that. The like button is a huge innovation. It's going to evolve continually, but the underpinnings of that are very powerful, and retailers are going to be able to tap into the affinities of one customer and then infer things about all the customers that know that first customer based on the strength of those social relationships. So there's a huge opportunity to help customers discover things that they didn't know they might be interested in through their social affinities. Yeah, I think we're experiencing you know, a shift that is going to be a permanent shift. You know, it's a little like Pandora's box, although that has a negative connotation. It's you know, it's an inevitable change. I mean, the cat is out of the bag, so to speak, and consumers have a level of control that they've always actually really had this level of control, because you know, one of our favorite expressions is, it's a quote, Scott Cook, the founder of Intuit, said that a brand is not what we tell consumers it is, it's what consumers tell each other that it is. And our business and what we try to do with our products is really just a reflection of what has happened offline for centuries. In fact, that's the story behind the name of our company, BazaarVoice, is voice of the marketplace. For years, for centuries, consumers in markets, ancient markets and bazaars, talked. It was a conversation, and that really dictated their choices. And I think that kind of got obscured a little bit in the heyday of advertising. But now we're back to, we're kind of almost back to basics, even though technology has come a long way. The way that consumers are able to express their opinions and wield influence is back to the basics of thousands of years ago, which is really powerful, because I think it's an innate human behavior to seek social proof and seek counsel from others that you know and that you trust before you make a decision on things to buy, service providers to choose, etc. So we're in the middle of that, but it's really a replay of something that's been happening for ages, and technology is enabling it to happen at a grander scale. Well, in the early days of our company, the first year or two, that was an objection. That was probably the most common objection that we heard. It was the what-if scenario of, What if I start this and all the feedback that I get is negative? And what has actually happened is across our entire customer base and the millions of reviews that we've captured for millions of different products, the average rating is 4.3 out of 5, which is exceptionally high. In fact, it's so high and it's so positive that it's generated a lot of debate around the inherent bias of reviews, right? And there are academics that question the veracity of reviews for that very reason. Still, though, within that highly positive set of data, you have a lot of very valuable negative commentary on products, and many of our customers tell us that the most valuable reviews that they collect are the 1- and 2-star reviews that allow them to actually see why a person has such a strong negative opinion, because that's something that they, in most cases, can address. But to come back to your, the doomsday scenario of what if all of my ratings and reviews are negative, not to be dismissive, but if that is actually the scenario that you're in, you have much more, much bigger problems that you need to solve, right? And I think one of the things I like to tell customers and prospective customers is if you're not fundamentally committed to customer satisfaction and delivering the best product, the best shopping experience, the best customer service, if you're not committed to those things, social technology, user-generated content, social media is not going to fix that, right? You have to use those things to amplify the goodwill and the word of mouth that customers already feel towards you and are already sharing with each other. So be committed to being the best, business that you can be, servicing customers as well as you can, and then social media amplifies the good aspects of that. And a phone conversation is a private conversation, right? It has no audience other than you and the person on the other end of the phone. Social media is a huge amplifier of both positive feedback and customer discontent, right? And I think that enough companies have been scarred by the fact that, now that consumers have this variety of tools available, and an individual with, otherwise no celebrity status can have a following online and can have a large audience online, that gives them a stage, that gives them a voice, that gives them a lot of leverage that customers really haven't had in the past through those more private channels for giving feedback, like surveys or phone calls or even sending an email to a company. So I think brands are smart. They know that they have to respond to that. They know that also the consumers that are going online and giving their opinion, you're in a unique segment as a consumer in the fact that you will tweet about something like that, right? And so I think brands are waking up to the fact that the vocal minority wields a lot of power. It may only be 1, 2, or 3% of their overall customer base that's going to go online and use that platform to express their dissatisfaction, but that 1 or 2 or 3% is highly valuable to them, and they have to address those problems before they become, more widespread. And the longer you wait to address that, online, the more that problem can attract attention and just fester. Number one, I think, embrace authentic feedback from your customers. Look out there at the types of conversations that are happening and start to understand the nature of conversations that are taking place about your brand. Some companies, depending on the business you're in, may have conversations that are highly skewed towards Facebook or review communities or Twitter or forums and message boards. There are different types of customer conversations. So number one, get familiar with the types that are occurring about your brand. Number two, start to invite some of that stuff into your own website. Embrace it. Give consumers, there's already a community of people that visit your site every single day. They are called your customers. And give them a voice on your own site so that they can actually help each other. Embrace that feedback and start to take action on what you're hearing. I think, the key thing here is a lot of companies get caught up in the shiny objects, right? They want to pursue the hot new thing. They want to be on the forefront of the latest trend. But if you're not fundamentally committed to upholding the promise that, the expectations that consumers have of you, you're kind of focused in the wrong area. So use this listening, use social technologies, use social media as an opportunity to be a better business.